The calendar has turned to June 1st, and that means it is the very first day of the Atlantic hurricane season. We've been getting you prepared here on Weather Nation, talking a lot about the tropics, and we've got all hands on deck to make sure you're ready to go for the upcoming season. We've got meteorologist Addison Green standing by in the Severe Weather Center. John Van Pelt, who's covered hurricanes for decades now, and meteorologist Rhonda Lee is going to tell us about everything that's happening already in the Eastern Pacific. So let's get down to business. Let's start off with the Atlantic because it is the start of the season. But don't tell Mother Nature that, because she started things off early in May. Around May 10th, we had Tropical Storm Ana. We'll be on to Bill soon. How soon? It's still a bit early to tell, but NOAA has put out this prediction for the Atlantic hurricane season. About 6 to 11 named storms, 3 to 6 of those being hurricanes, and 0 to 2 of them possibly becoming major hurricanes. So where do these start? Where do they all begin? Let's send it down to meteorologist Addison Green for a look at the origination of these storms.
Thank you very much, Carissa. Yeah, as we do go through this tropical season in the Atlantic, we expect to be finding storms to start off in the month of June closer to home, talking Gulf of Mexico down towards the Western Caribbean, and these storms will either go towards the lower 48 down towards Texas or either curve up towards the Carolinas. Going through July, the origination begins to push further away from home. We go down in towards the Caribbean islands, to the Leeward Islands, and then as we go further into August and in towards September, we're watching more territory being covered for the potential for where storms can originate from, and we get those warmer waters to start to pop up across the Atlantic. So by September, the peak of the season, you can have storms form all the way out from the Cape Verde Islands near Africa, and they get those long durations of time to track across the Caribbean, coming in towards the lower 48. Heading towards October, cooler waters start to move in towards the Atlantic Ocean, center portions of the ocean, so we're going to start to see origination closer to home, and by the time we get in towards November, the season is winding down, and we only see a few locations nearby where we have a chance for seeing storms come into the picture. But as these storms begin to come on in and get closer to land, storm surge becomes a big issue, and for more about that, we have John Van Pelt with us. John, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Addison. Well, the first hurricane I covered was in 1979 in Myrtle Beach, Hurricane David. That one brought in enough surge to wash out some pool decks on seaside hotels and do damage to oceanfront property. The biggest storm surge I ever saw was Ivan at Gulf Shores, Alabama. It was 14 feet deep, and even 12 hours after landfall, chest-deep water, a mile and a half inland. So that's one of the reasons we say hide from the wind, run from the water. Storm surge is the biggest killer in tropical systems, and that's what we want everybody to think about this year. I'll throw it back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, John. Now let's take a look at what we're going to be expecting over the next few days as far as Andres and Blanca go. Yes, Blanca, I know what happened over the weekend. Yes, indeed, that 0% storm on Thursday blew up into something extra special into Blanca. Yeah, Pacific already getting their season started. Already, they were already underway May 15th. So Eastern Pacific is slated to have 15 to 22 storms. 7 to 12 of those will be hurricanes, and then 5 to 8 major. That's huge. That's a 70% chance of that happening, above average for this time of year. Let's start with Andres, Category 3, moving off to the northwest and picking up some steam. Now, if you recall, just a few days ago, we had our spaghetti model that had that one strange little model going off to, as I call it, Cleveland. Well, turns out that model may have been right. Right now, winds at 125 miles per hour. But take a look at Blanca. Formed again over this weekend. As you can see, pretty powerful storm Blanca is going to be as well. Look at this spaghetti model. This is your 96-hour forecast for Blanca. I kind of paused it because you see it starts to spin around. A lot of times some storms will get caught in a low pressure system, and then they follow that counterclockwise motion, just sitting and spinning until the system itself can finally move out of the way. Problem is with Blanca, though, she seems to at this point be taking a direct turn towards the east. That's going to be a problem for folks maybe in the southwest. Might want to keep an eye on it. Again, there's Andres out in the ocean, and here's Blanca right here. Her path, again, over the next several days has her sitting and spinning for at least the next 96 hours till she finally becomes a 3 and then starts to make her way up towards western sections of Mexico and maybe southwestern sections of the United States. We're going to keep an eye on both storms over the next several days. But in the meantime, again, thank you so much for joining us. That's meteorologist Carissa Kloss and Addison Green, and of course, John Van Pelt with his eye on storm surge. We'll have more on your forecast coming up in just a moment.